Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning.
Om Sada Shiva
Samrambam Acharya
Varyaman
Asmadacharyantam Vande Guru Paramparam.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha
Yantu
Veeryam
Karvavahai
Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti
Shanti Shanti
Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, so we will now chant the next mantra, the next verse, which is the 34th verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya
Pariprashnena sevaya
Upadekshyanti Te Jnanam
Upadekshyanti jnanam
Jnaninas Tattvadarshinah
Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Okay. So, look at the word breakups. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattva darshinaha. Vidhi tat, understand that. Now, tat here refers to that knowledge which you are seeking. Okay, because he is now Krishna is talking to Arjuna. Arjuna is a sadhaka. Sadhaka is looking for the sadhyam. So he says vidhi tat. That tat refers to Atma Jnana over here. Brahma Jnanam, Atma Jnanam. So vidhi tat, understand that Atma Jnanam pranipatena, by asking, by prostrating, pranipatena, by prostrating, pariprashnena, by asking proper questions, sevaya, and by doing service. To whom? Jnaninaha, to the person who is wise, to the jnani, to the teacher. And what are the qualifications of the jnaninaha? Tattvadarshinaha, he must have had the knowledge of the truth himself. He must know that he is Brahman. And if you go to him and you prostrate to him, pranipatena and pariprashnena and sevaya, what will he do? Te upadekshanti, he will teach you this jnana, this knowledge. So, this is the one of the most important pramanam in the Bhagavad Gita or in Vedanta itself, to show that you cannot learn Vedanta by yourself. You cannot get Atma Jnanam by yourself. Krishna says very clearly, this is the only way to get. And therefore, this is a Jnana Yajna, which cannot be, the Jnana Yajna cannot be an independent practice. It cannot, unlike many other sadhanas, pranayama, asana practice, bhakti yoga, all these you can do independently. But Jnana Yoga cannot be done independently. Jnana Yajna requires external aid. And this aid is in twofold in nature. One is the Shastra, the scriptures. The scriptures are the only pramanam which tells you about Atma. Atma Jnanam is obtained only from the scriptures. And the scriptures are therefore for the sadhaka. The scriptures can be taken as a mirror. Because ultimately Atma Jnanam is what? It is a knowledge of myself only. And where do I see my face? I see it in the mirror. Therefore, it is often said that Shastra is Darpanam. Shastra is the mirror. Darpana iti. And this mirror, unlike the normal mirror, I cannot operate this Shastra Darpanam by myself. The Shastra mirror, I do not know how to use. And because this any mirror can help you see your face only when it is used properly. And therefore, Shastra will bless me only when I know how to use the Shastra. And if I don't know how to use the Shastram, then it will end up in giving incorrect knowledge. And therefore, how do I get to know how to operate the Shastram properly? The teacher tells me. I have to go to a teacher. Of course, in this case, there are people who say, no, no, no. Look at Ramana Maharishi. He got the knowledge without any teacher. Okay, and there are many others, people who have got knowledge without teachers, apparently. But Shastra says, no, this is not correct. You have to understand that a person who in this life has got the knowledge, apparently without a teacher, the correct understanding is that he has been through Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam with a teacher in previous lives. So the Guru is necessary. And the moment you say Guru, then you have different ideas about the Guru. There are different concepts. Okay, so there is one Guru who is a mantra upadesha Guru, right? He gives you mantram. He tells you how to use a mantra and he gives it to you. So he's a mantra upadesha Guru that upadesha has given. So he might give you Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayana. This Guru is helping you get Chitta Shuddhi, because mantra is a wonderful instrument for getting Chitta Shuddhi, but it is not going to give you Atma Jnanam. So the first Guru is an initiating Guru, the mantra upadesha Guru. Then there is an inspiring Guru. Many of us have, stepped on this path because we are inspired by some teacher or some Guru. That Guru may be alive or dead, but we are inspired by him. And that, therefore, is an inspirational Guru is there. And then there is a third one, which Krishna represents, the Jnana Guru, the one who communicates knowledge to the disciple. And this is why when Arjuna wanted knowledge, he went to the teacher. Remember here, Krishna does not function as an inspiring Guru or a mantra upadesha Guru, right? He does not do that. Because if Krishna had to give Atmajnanam by blessing, then he did not have gone through 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. But Krishna wanted to remove Arjuna's ignorance. And to remove ignorance, the only role that Krishna could possibly have taken was what? Of a teaching Guru. And therefore, for us, when we talk in the general world, people talk about Gurus giving knowledge just by looking at you. All those things we have to understand properly. There is a difference between an initiating Guru, inspiring Guru, and teaching Guru. All Gurus are to be respected. Initiating Guru cannot give you knowledge. Inspiring Guru cannot give you knowledge. Perhaps without the initiating Guru and the inspiring Guru, you may not come to the teaching Guru. Only teaching Guru can give you the knowledge. And therefore, we are not discounting the influence of the initiating Guru or the inspiring Guru. Both of them contribute to Chitta Shuddhi. Without Chitta Shuddhi, you cannot come to the teaching Guru. And therefore, the Jnana Guru does what? He does a systematic long-term teaching of Vedanta. And this teaching is exactly like maybe physics, chemistry, or biology, or astronomy. It is a systematic teaching, word by word, chapter by chapter. Krishna could have said, I am Easwara, Arjuna. You should question me. You should have no right to question me. You have to believe me. So have faith when I tell you that you are Atma. But that won't work. In fact, some people say that even if Easwara comes and tells you that you are Atma, you might believe it at that moment, but after some time you'll start doubting. Was it really Easwara who came? Am I really Atma? So this sort of communication doesn't work. You cannot, because you have got an intellect, you've got a capacity to think and rationalize and question. Those doubts have to be handled before you believe anything. And therefore, Krishna begins to teach. Wherever teaching is involved, faith will not work. Blind faith will not work. You have to ask questions. Whereas in the case of the teaching guru, the inspiring guru, inspiration requires no questioning. Mantra initiation requires no questioning. It requires just belief. Because there is no analysis involved. There is no jnanam involved. But wherever jnanam has to be given, like any other subject matter, systematic teaching has to be done. And that is why you will find Krishna repeatedly saying, Arjuna, shrunu, shrunu, shrunu. Hey Arjuna, you listen, you listen, you listen. And shrunu here means active listening with the mind backing the ear. It is not like listening to a katha. You go to a katha, somebody to the story. You are listening at times, you are not listening at times. There is no active thinking or reasoning. Logical reasoning is not involved. No analysis is involved. It doesn't matter really. It's a story. So the katha listening is passive. While jnana listening, sravanam, involves understanding, active listening, carefully understanding each statement made by the teacher, making sure that I can reconcile one statement with the previous statement. So the teacher cannot one day say that jnanam is the only means of liberation. And the next day, then I come and tell you there are 4 paths of liberation. Then I'm not a proper teacher, right? If I say to you, if I tell you in the beginning that jnanam is the only means of liberation, then I should consistently follow that principle that jnanam is the only means of liberation. I should hold on to that view right from the first opening class till the last Brahma Sutra class. I should hold on to that view only. And as a proper teacher, if you ask me to reconcile a statement with the previous statement, I have to be able to do that. And the teacher therefore has to have a complete view of the Shastra. And furthermore, very importantly, I should never discourage any questioning. I should allow you to ask questions. And that is why in the Bhagavad Gita that you will find that Krishna allows Arjuna to ask questions. In this chapter itself, there is a question. First few verses. What does he say? Arjuna says, hey Krishna, you are teaching me now. At the same time, you said that you taught Surya Bhagavan also. Isn't that a contradiction? Isn't that illogical? The questions are there. Right up to the 18th chapter, Arjuna keeps on asking questions. And therefore, this Shastram is to be taught like any science, very systematically, encouraging thinking, encouraging understanding, encouraging questioning, and encouraging the assimilation of the knowledge. It's not like Pada Puja, right? You go to an initiating guru, you fall at his feet, then he repeats in your ears some mantra, and he tells you now you chant this mantra for the rest of your life. Don't change the mantra at all. Don't repeat it to anybody else. Use the mala. So that's simple. It requires faith in the guru. But take learning, right? Now you take Einstein's formula, E is equal to mc squared. Supposing that you have come to me and you have come to me not as a spiritual teacher. You say, Ravi ji, what is this E is equal to mc squared? So I will tell you, okay, you come close to me, fall at my feet, give me your ears. Now I will repeat your ears. E is equal to mc squared. I secretly whisper that formula to you. And then I say, now you have to chant this every day 108 times. First Uttama, loud chanting. Then Madhyama, medium chanting. Then Mauna, soft chanting, mental chanting. And you do this every day. Do it for 10 years. And it will dawn on you what is E, what is M, what is C. Is it going to happen? No. Somebody has to explain to you what is E, energy. Somebody has to explain to you what is M, matter. Somebody has to explain to you what is C, what is the speed of light, what is the connection. Everything has to be explained. You require a college education, a systematic education in physics. Every word you should understand. Similarly, that is only anatma. E is equal to mc squared, d is anatma. How much more difficult it is to understand Brahman, the substratum of the entire universe. So Vedanta is also like a very, very important and significant equation. What is the equation? Tattvamasi. You are the ultimate reality. That is not meant for japa. So people give you soham. Soham is meant for japa. Soham is a japa mantra, right? And some guru says, okay, you do soham, soham, soham. But you chant soham for the rest of your life without understanding the meaning of soham, nothing will happen. It might give you chitta shuddhi, yes. But saha means samashti. Soham, saha, aham. Saha means samashti, the macrocosm. Aham means I, the jiva, the microcosm, the vyashti. What am I talking about? I am saha, aham. I am talking about the oneness, the identity of the contents of the vyashti and samashti, the identity of the contents of the macro and the micro. This is not meant for japa. It is not meant for believing. It is meant for knowing. And therefore, until you understand, you should hear, you should ask questions. When is the teaching completed? When you are convinced. My own conviction doesn't make the teacher complete. The teaching is complete only when the student is convinced. And therefore Krishna says, Jnāninaha upadekshanti. The Jnanis who have understood this science, this fact, this shastram, they will teach you. What is more, not only must they have understood, they must have the skill of communication also. A teacher has to have two things: complete knowledge and communication skills. Supposing I am a Brahmanishta. I know I am Brahman, I know everybody is Brahman, but I don't know how to explain. What is the use? Right? You can at the most do pranam to me from far off and you should go away, because you will waste your time and my time by coming to me if I don't know how to teach. And therefore a guru enjoys the status of a guru only when he has got knowledge and communication. If he has got only knowledge and no communication skills, then there is a name for such a guru. He is called a mystic. Why is he called a mystic? Well, he is called a mystic because everything he says is very mysterious to you. You don't understand at all because he doesn't know how to teach. And such a guru, if you ask his disciple, how was that guru's discourse? He will say, oh, Guruji was great. He was wonderful, such divine words. And then you ask him, can you tell me in 5 sentences what the guru said? He would have no idea. There is no clear answer. Therefore, jnanam has to be there. The communication skill has to be there. And such a guru is in the Shastram referred to as Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. Brahmanishtha means he should be convinced that he is Brahman. Because if I don't think I am Brahman, there is no weightage in my words when I tell you that you are Brahman. Unless I am convinced that I am Brahman, I have no business teaching. My words will not carry any value at all. Because any good student will know that this teacher doubts what he is teaching. How can he possibly teach? So that conviction has to be there. Yes, I am Brahman. So that is called Brahmanishta. The other important thing is Shrotriyam. Shrotriyam literally means he should have been at the receiving end of Shravanam, which means he should have had a teacher. Now, if he has had a teacher, he will know all the teaching methodologies which we have seen in so many classes that we have done, including the Prakarana Granthas we have done. He would have seen all the teaching methodologies, which is called Prakriyas. All the Prakriyas he would have known because he He has been taught using those prakriyas. So what are those prakriyas which you have seen? We have seen a few. We have seen the Adhyaropa Apavada Prakriya. We have seen the Karana Karya Prakriya. We have seen the Avasthatrayam Prakriya. We have seen the Panchakosha Prakriya. We have seen the Drik Drishya Vivekaha Prakriya. All these methods we have seen. And this Shrotriya Brahmanishta should have been taught by his teacher, by his guru, these prakriyas. And when he has known these prakriyas, he will be able to teach you using those prakriyas. And therefore, Shrotriya is very important. A proper teacher, therefore, is a Shrotriya Brahmanishta, one who has been taught himself in this life. Okay, that is very important. In this life, he should have been taught. If he has been taught in the previous life, then yes, like Ramana Maharishi, he can become a Brahmanishta. But he cannot teach you. Because previous life, the knowledge may be there, but he may not remember the knowledge of how to teach may not be carried forward. Therefore, Shrotriya must know the teaching prakriyas. He must know that he is Brahman. And such a guru, Krishna says, Jnaninaha Tattvadarshinaha. So Tattvadarshina here means Tattvadarshinam, means the one who has seen the truth. What is the truth? I am Brahman. And therefore Tattvadarshinam means Brahmanistha. Unless I am Brahman, how can I boldly tell you, yes, I am Brahman? When I know that I am Brahman, then only Tattvamasi will carry conviction coming from my mouth. Otherwise, you are just like going to the doctor who is telling you, don't smoke, don't smoke. At the same time, he's sitting in front of you and he's smoking. What value does that carry? The doctor himself is smoking. He's telling you not to smoke. So this fellow should be a Tattvadarshi, a Jnaninaha. And this particular method of communication, using all these prakriyas, that has got an important name in Shastra. That is called the Sampradaya. Sampradaya means handed down in the form of a parampara. Therefore, those of you who are studying these classes, at some point, if you choose to teach, you will find that your idea that I am Brahman is clear. You will find that you can communicate using the same techniques which you have been taught. That makes you Shrotriya Brahmanishta. So, the one who has the Sampradaya, Shankaracharya calls him Sampradaya with Sampradaya with, literally it's a with meaning the person having, not W-I-T-H with, Sanskrit with, Sampradaya with, the person who has knowledge of the Sampradaya. And Shankara writes somewhere, Asampradaya with murkhavat upekshaniyam. The person who is Asampradaya, he may be Brahmanishta, but he doesn't have Sampradaya, which means he doesn't have this knowledge or the skill of using these prakriyas to teach. So he says for him, murkhavat, like a fool. Murkham is fool. So upekshaniyam, avoid that guru like you would avoid a fool. Why? That guru may be Brahmanishta. He may know he is Brahman, but he doesn't have the teaching prakriya. He doesn't have the traditional key to teaching you. Don't go to him for learning. You may do pranam to him. Otherwise, there is no difference between learning from the fool and learning from this teacher. So don't go to him at all. And therefore Krishna says, if you have done proper namaskara and had proper questions and done seva, te upadeksyanti, that teacher will happily teach you. Right? They will happily impart the knowledge to you. What is the corollary? What is the criteria here? I should make sure that I deserve the knowledge. I should make sure that I am a worthy container for that knowledge. Because if the container is unclean, then the knowledge gets contaminated. Like what happens to milk when you pour it into an unclean vessel, it gets curdled. Therefore, that knowledge poured into an unclean container will get contaminated. And therefore, I should be a adhikari before asking for knowledge. And here, Krishna, as you can see, is emphasizing two things. Jñāsa. One should have intense desire for the knowledge. This is the only remedy for samsara. What is the word in this mantra which is saying that the student should have jñāsa?
Pariprashne.
Pariprashne. Asking questions, intense desire for knowledge, right? And Krishna is emphasizing vinayaha, humility. What is the word where humility is being emphasized?
Pranipatena.
Pranipate.
I should have humility. I should accept my ignorance. Pranipatena. So you should connect all these. Pranipatena is not just a thing. It's a manifestation of humility. And pariprashne is a manifestation of jñāsa. So humility I must have, because if I don't accept my ignorance, then I am not humble. And if I don't accept my ignorance, how will I ask for teaching? Because my ego will never allow. He will say, why should I go and study with him? There are plenty of people I know who say, oh, I've read so many books on Vedanta. I've read all the Upanishads back to front. Why should I go to a teacher? It's not necessary at all. I know everything. Therefore, an egoistic person, one who has ahankara, can never gain knowledge. And therefore, Krishna emphasizes vinayaha, humility, by saying pranipatena. Express your humility to your teacher by doing namaskara. That physical prostration, it symbolizes my humility. Pranipatena is prakarshena patena. Patena is to fall flat. Prakarshena is in the sense of supreme or total. So totally falling flat. Shashtanga namaskara. What is Shashtanga namaskara? Saha ashta anga namaskara. Your body is touching the ground, or other. There are 8 parts of you which are touching the ground. What are they?
Sir, when in Surya Namaskar we do the Ashtanga pose, where our
It's not Ashtanga,
head,
please. It is Shashtanga.
the pose, the head, the forehead.
Okay, one second. Head and forehead is one thing. So which?
Yes.
No. Which one? Head or forehead? Which one?
Forehead.
Forehead. Okay. Then
Forehead.
well, then
Two hands. Chest.
chest.
2 hands, 2 knees, 2 legs.
Two hands.
Feet.
That's 2 hands of. That's 4. Then
2 knees and toes.
2 knees and 2 toes. Okay. So this is the
Knees and
general
toes.
meaning of Shashtanga, of that Ashta Anga Namaskara. Saha Ashta Anga Namaskara means with Ashta Anga Namaskara. The general meaning is the 2 toes, the 2 knees, the 2 hands, that is 6, the chest and the forehead. But Shastram doesn't agree. Now, this is the general meaning that we all think. Shastram doesn't agree. So there is a small little verse. Urasa shirasa drishtaya manasa vachasa tatha padbhyam karabhyam janubhyam pranamo ashtanga uchyate. Very nice verse. Padbhyam. That is taken as 1. Okay. Pad is what?
Feet.
Feet. That's taken as 1. Karabhyam. What is karabhyam? Hands. That's taken as 1. Janubhyam. The knees. That is taken as 1. Only 3. What about the other 5? Other 5 are here. Urasa, chest. Shirasa, head. Manasa, mind. Vachasa, words. And drishtya, eyes. So this is the meaning of Ashtanga. Urusa shirasa drishtya manasa vachasa tatha padbhyam karabhyam janubhyam pranamo ashtanga uchyate. If you are doing your namaskara with, now here, padbhyam karabhyam janubhyam, the knees, the legs and the hands, urasa and shirasha, the chest and the head, these are all touching the ground. It is a physical touch, right? Then there are 3 more. Drishtya, your eyes. So literally it means I should have looked at the Acharya before you do the namaskara. Obviously, once your head is on the ground, your eyes can't look at the Acharya. So, let's not complicate things. You should have looked at the Acharya before you do the namaskara. Manasa, the Acharya must be in your mind. Vachasa tatha. And Acharya's name should have been on your tongue. So, Purvasa Shirasa Drishtya, Manasa Vachasa tatha, Padbhyam Karabhyam Janubhyam Pranamo Ashtanga Uchyate. When this is the Ashtanga Namaskara. And with this, even with this, it's not complete. How does the Acharya know that you are interested? Pariprashnena. You ask for the knowledge. So Pariprashnena represents the Jñāsa, the inquisitiveness for your knowledge. And Pranipatena represents the humility. And Pariprashnena means ask questions. What kind of questions? Don't go and say, Acharya, when will I get moksha? That is not a question. Right? What is the question? So Shankara gives examples in his commentary. So Shankara says you should ask Katham Bandhaha. What is bondage? Katham Mokshaha. What is liberation? Ka Vidyaha. What is Jnanam? Ka Avidyaha. What is ignorance? These are the questions which you must ask. And then what should you do? Sevaya. Service to the Guru. What is the purpose of service to the Guru? There is a twofold purpose. One is that work which you do for the Guru. It could be anything. It could be, cutting wood for him. It could be, buying something for him. It could be taking care of his house. Because old days, the Gurukul was there. The entire Gurukul's activity and duties were divided among the students. Sevaya. This could have, so two things are there. One is the Karma Yoga part of it. Karma Yoga, as you all know, gives Chitta Shuddhi. So the first part of Sevaya is to give Chitta Shuddhi. The second part is to build a connection, a rapport between the teacher and you. Right? So this is the meaning of Sevaya. And now when I come to this point, very important point is there, which very few people tell you. The Namaskara is Pranipatena Namaskara. It is never for the teacher. If the teacher is demanding Namaskara from you for himself, then he is no teacher. The teacher is only the content, the container. Sorry, not the content. Teacher is only the container. What is the content? The content is the knowledge. And therefore, the Namaskara which you do is always to the Jnanam, the content. And that content comes from whom? From Easwara only. How does it come? Through the parampara. Therefore, your namaskara is to the parampara, going through the parampara and reaching Easwara. Which is Easwara is the very content of Jnanam, because Atma Jnanam means Brahman, Atma. And therefore, remember that namaskara which you do is never to the teacher. It is only to the Jnanam, which is Easwara himself. Why? Because Jnanam is to be given only to one who is Jignasu. That is why all this is being said. What is the reason for saying all this? Because Jnanam should be given only to the person who is a Jignasu, who is a person who is eligible, who wants the Jnanam, and not only that, who is a Patra, as they call it, the correct container for the Jnanam. And therefore, there has to be understanding between the teacher and the Guru, and then the Shishya. The Shishya should respect the teacher. The Guru must know the Shishya properly. He must know his mentality. He must know his strong points. He must know his weak points. Why? So that he can advise him to work on the weak points and strengthen the strong points. All this needs time. And therefore, Sevaya. That Seva, that proximity to the teacher is important. So teacher can understand what sort of person you are, and therefore temper his teaching, alter his teaching to meet your needs completely. After all this is done, Upadekshanti, he will teach you Atma Jnana. A very, very beautiful little verse. Any questions?
So
Yes,
it's
Vandana.
not.
Vandana has raised a hand. Kush next. Yeah. Vandana?
Acharya.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the Guru being a Brahmanishta, so we're only talking about Paroksha Jnanam. The Guru need not have a Paroksha Jnanam.
Oh, Paroksha Jnanam means it is, I know that there is Brahman.
Right.
Aparoksha Jnana means that Brahman whom I know is me. So we're talking about Aparoksha Jnanam, not Paroksha Jnana.
Ravi saying he has to be fully realized.
Yes. Unless the teacher is fully realized, your teaching is that he will not be able to ever give you the correct teaching. That conviction of the fact that I am Brahman, that will not be there in him. So if I am not convinced I am Brahman, how will I tell you you are Brahman? It will sound hollow in my mind.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, Kush?
Sir, when you were saying that when we when we put our salutations in front of the teacher, we should remember the Guru Parampara and the teaching, and that we are saluting to Easwara. Just a thought came that what we learned is the one who knows Brahman realizes Brahman. He becomes one with Brahman. So in a way, we are also, when we are saluting in front of the teacher, we are saluting to Brahman himself.
Well, if you are able to understand the teacher is Brahman, then you should understand the teacher is you. Then there is no cause for salutation. Then Brahman is also you. Then there is no cause for salutation.
Actually, it's not my idea. I was listening to Swami Sivananda's one of the videos where he says, "You come and ask me to show you God. But if I know God, then who am I?" And it was very deep for me to contemplate on.
No, if you say I know God, that is what Spandana is saying. The moment you say I know God, what have you introduced?
Yeah, I the Jiva or I the OC.
You introduce duality.
Duality, yes.
And therefore, there's an Upanishad, the Jnana Upanishad, which says that the one who says that he knows, he can never know. If you say you know God, you don't know God. That is a very beautiful little Upanishad. The one who comes and says that, yes, I know God, you can be sure that he definitely does not know God.
Because he sees God as something outside him or something
Yes.
different than him.
Yes.
Thank you.
So it's a very nice verse. And of course, we take it as a pramanam that you cannot study Vedanta on your own. Not only this, there are many verses in the Upanishads also, which as and when we do, you will see again and again is repeated. Do not try to understand by yourself. Because whenever you read, you will be looking through your own eyes, your own vision. Your vision is already contaminated. How can you ever see the truth? Spandana, you have another question?
No, Acharya, I forgot to.
Okay, Lata then.
Acharya ji.
Yeah.
Many a times, I mean, I have seen this, but I don't know whether it's true or not, that, there is a guru who actually considers someone as a shishya and tries to go ahead and teach more. But the shishya is kind of confused whether this is my actual guru or not. Then in that case, is there a gap somewhere between the guru and shishya?
If you have not accepted the teacher as your teacher, you might as well not go.
Not go. Okay.
There's no point, because doubt is the killer of any knowledge.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that this business about who is the teacher, there's nothing very logical about this understanding, okay? Because in my own life, if I have to give an example, long ago, I was I was looking for knowledge. So I went around all over the place. I went to Paramarthacharam. I went to Vihar School of Yoga. I even went to a teacher in Calcutta who used to teach in a cemetery. Tantric fellow. But the day I met my own guru, SPG, 2 minutes after I sat down in class, I was sure this is my teacher. You can't ask me to explain. You just know, yes, this is the teacher. If you don't have that feeling, you shouldn't go, because you don't have a teacher then.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Indiraji?
Om Acharya. So I have this question for many days about whenever we speak about the sampradayas. So are there any different kinds of sampradayas, where we look at, I know that Hatha Yoga is the Nath Sampradaya, like that. Are there any different types of sampradayas?
Sampradaya simply means the teaching is handed down in a particular fashion from teacher to teacher through the parampara. So Nath Sampradaya is basically Hatha Yoga. There's a series of Hatha Yoga teachers. We are talking about a series of teachers, in the middle of whom is Shankaracharya. So we call it Shankaracharya Sampradaya. But really speaking, it is Easwara Sampradaya, because it's coming from the Lord himself. It's coming from Lord Krishna, right?
Yes. Are there any sampradayas as such? Like we know Adi Shankaracharya. I think I know Ramanujacharya. Also, they follow the Vishishtadvaita.
Yeah, they are all different sampradayas. You
Okay,
have
so
Vishishtadvaita, you got Advaita, you got Dvaita, you got Nyaya, you got Vaisheshika. There are so many of them. Each one is a different series.
Okay, so those all we can call it as though that's the sampradaya that teacher
For them,
or
yes.
to teach.
For us, it is not.
Okay. So in Vedanta, like we say, it's the Adi Shankaracharya sampradaya.
You can call it Shankaracharya Sampradaya, but basically, I think if you look at it, it is the teaching and how to, teach using certain methods. We call it Shankaracharya because Shankaracharya is the only live person we really know was there in the whole series.
Yes.
We don't know whether Vyasacharya was a mythical entity or you don't know.
Right.
Whether. Therefore, since you are sure that this Shankaracharya was there some time back, we call it Shankaracharya Sampradaya. But basically it's a Sampradaya. One shouldn't get involved into these kind of dissertations. It serves no purpose to our knowledge.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
Meeraji?
Om Guruji, Acharya, I wanted to know that why do we address you as Acharya and not Guruji?
I don't like this name Guruji because it's very mystic, And as I said, a mystic person, when he speaks, you're all left mystified. So I don't want that to happen. So
Okay.
I don't want you to come out saying what a magnificent speech, but I didn't understand anything.
Okay. So, sir, you say that SPG was your guru, is
Yeah.
your guru.
Is my
So, so do you address him as Guruji or Acharya?
I call him
do you
Swamiji.
do? Swamiji.
Because he's Swami.
Okay. So then, sir, I want to know what is the difference between you and SPG?
SPG is my guru. I am me, your teacher. Simple as
So
that.
you are our guru.
I am your teacher. Even Swami Dayananda, who is SPG's guru, he did not like being called guru. Most people addressed him as Swamiji only, or Punja Swamiji.
Okay.
Om, sir.
Okay.
See, there is no harm in guru, okay, but one should know exactly what guru is. The one who removes the darkness.
But that's what you're doing for us.
I'm removing, okay. But then most people don't understand the term guru, so it's not used because guru is taken as I said, something. You have a guru whom you go to, and then he raises his hand, and suddenly lights come before your eyes, and you are, enlightened. I can't lay any claim to that. I can only keep on teaching. And since the person who teaches, so acharati, acharayati, iti acharya. The one who teaches and follows the teachings himself is acharya.
Yes.
That is why we say acharya. You can also call me Ravi ji. It's equally acceptable to me. I won't say.
Yes, sir.
But
Okay.
please don't call Guru.
Okay. Thank you.
Om Acharya.
Yes, Amit.
Acharya ji, I have a question. So there's a saying, a very famous saying, when you are ready, then Guru finds you. So which one is correct? Guru find us, or we should go to, or we go to Guru?
Well, that's a good question. The point is the samyoga, the meeting between the teacher and the student will never happen unless the student is ready. I'll give you an example. In all those who have been in Shivana TTCs will know, right? So there's June over, I can see, there is Rinki, I can see. The moment you are in a class, it's not that you alone are in the class, right? Every TTC usually has 100 plus students. They all listen to you for the entire, because they have no choice, poor fellows. And I often say that is the only place where I can teach without any fear of the student walking out, because he has no choice. He has to sit in class for 25 days. Otherwise, his attendance gets lost, So in the TTC, you're very confident that nobody will ever leave the class. But how many of those 100 come back to you and say that, no, I would like to study further? I would estimate, 10 or 12 out of every 100. And that it doesn't end over there, After, let us say, 2 years, how many of them still remain? Those are the ones for whom that connection has been made. The others, the teacher was there, but they were not ready.
Thank you, Acharya.
So in this class itself, I can see at least 2 or 3 people who have been in this class for more than 4 years or 5 years.
6 years almost.
6 years. Swati is there 6 years. Swati is the exception because she stayed even when she had 2 babies. I remember her coming into class with 1 baby in one hand. Small baby, yes, not big baby.
Right now I have, but
Now the baby is big, Swati.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's look at one more verse. We have the time. So we look at verse number 35. We will read. Yad gyatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyasheshena draksyasyatmanyato mayi. So he says, Yat Gyatva Na Punaha Moham Evam. The word breakups. Yat Gyatva Na Punaha Moham Evam Yasyasi Pandava Yena Bhutani Asheshena Drakshyasi Atmani Atho Mai. So, Yat Gyatva, having understood this knowledge, Hey Pandava, Hey Arjuna, Na Punaha Moham Yasyasi. You will never be deluded again. Evam, in this manner. In which manner? In the manner in which you are currently deluded. And yena, by this knowledge, drakshyasi, you will see, you shall see, asheshena bhutani, all the beings without any exception, asheshena, without shesham, without any remnant. So without any exceptions, asheshena bhutani drakshasi, you shall see all the beings, living beings, atmani, in yourself. Athaha, and mai, in me also. So he's talking about the jnana phalam. What is the benefit of the knowledge? So in the next 3 verses, 35, 36, and 37, Krishna talks about the jnana phalam. What is the benefit of getting this knowledge? And he presents in some different ways, right? So in this verse, he is presenting jnana phalam. We can use 2 Sanskrit words for it. Moha nivrittihi, as a freedom from delusion, and bheda nivrittihi, as the freedom from the difference of Jivatma, Paramatma. So the first thing is moha nivrittihi, moha nashaha. The biggest problem in our life is what? Conflict. Because there are things which you know is correct, and there are things which you want to do against that knowledge. So Arjuna knew Dharma Shastram very well. He was an educated person. And he knew that Duryodhana was, to use the language of the first chapter, Atatai, a terrorist. Okay. He knew that Duryodhana was a terrorist. In spite of this clear knowledge that this Duryodhana who is standing in front of me is a terrorist and therefore deserves to die, why did Arjuna have conflict? It shows any amount of jnanam which you get, it cannot guarantee that you will have no conflict in life. Because conflict is not arising out of jnanam. Conflict is arising out of raga dvesha. And because of my own limitations, because of my raga dvesha, I am not able to see what is in front of me in reality. And therefore, Arjuna was not ready to face the day when objects of his attachment, Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya, would no longer be available on earth in the physical form. That inability to face the future is because of what? Raga for Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya, and that was the conflict for him. For us also, remember, conflicts will be there, but you cannot avoid facing the future. You cannot avoid taking decisions. And therefore, how long can you postpone decisions? Each decision is risky because you don't know the outcome. Even marriage, is a risky decision. Some people say marriage is not a word, it is a sentence, life sentence. So that is also possible, right? Anything that you do, there is a risk. So every decision that you take exposes you to uncertainty in the future. And if you are not ready to face that uncertainty, what do? I try to avoid taking a decision. Therefore, every conflict, that is a conflict, every conflict is born out of a weakness, which is born out of raga dvesha, because of which I don't want to take decisions, because I simply don't want to face the consequence of the decision, which is the future. What is the advantage if I've got Atma Jnanam? Atma Jnanam advantage is that I am ready to face any future. And I have to take decisions for the future, right? How do I take decisions for the future? Whether you are a jnani or a ajnani, a decision for the future has to be based on available data only. You know the decision can lead to a favorable consequence or an unfavorable situation. But as a jnani, I don't avoid the decision because for me, I am ready to face either of the consequences, favorable or unfavorable. While the jnani doesn't want to face the unfavorable consequence. So Krishna says, Yat Gyatva, by gaining this knowledge, how? We have to go back to the last verse. From a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Acharya. Tattvadarshinihi. Moham na yasyasi. Your conflicts will end. Hey Arjuna, your conflict will end. And Arjuna had the conflict even now. How do we know? You have to recall the second chapter. Na chaitad vidmaha kataranno gariyaha yadva jayema yadivano jayeyuhu. Arjuna had said, hey Krishna, I don't know which is better, to fight or not to fight. And not only that, if I fight, I don't even know whether I'm going to win or lose. And therefore, I don't know what is going to the future. What is the future going to be? I am unable to make up my mind. Therefore, I don't want to take a decision, which is why I threw away my bow and sat on the chariot. So that is the first thing. Your conflict will end here, Arjuna. The second benefit, he says, Yena bhutani asheshena. So asheshena bhutani means all living beings. Shankaracharya adds over here by way of clarification. Asheshena bhutani means all jivas beginning from the smallest blade of grass or the smallest living organism up to Lord Brahmaji, which is the most supreme of all jivas. So all the jivas are covered in asheshena bhutani. What will happen? What will happen? Drakshasi Atmani. You will see them in yourself. You will see the entire host of living beings as present in you. This we are not talking about karma yogi. We are talking about what? As a result of that jnanam. Yat gyatva. As a result of that jnanam, this is the karma phalam that you will see. Sorry, not karma phalam, jnana phalam. That you will see every organism in this world, every jiva in this world, you will see Atmani in you. Right? You will learn to see all living beings as existing in yourself. In our language, you will switch from the tertiary format, triangular format, you will switch to the binary format. And how Krishna conveys this by the use of an indirect method. He says, you will know that all beings exist in you because you will see that. And he adds, Athomai. Athomai in me also. You'll also see that all beings exist in me. That Krishna is saying this, okay? You will see that they exist in you and you will see that they exist in me. So this might lead to a contradiction. So Shankaracharya anticipates that. And he says, no, there is no contradiction in this statement because there are two statements being made. The whole universe you will see in you, and the whole universe you will see in me, Brahman. What is the conclusion? You will conclude that you are Easwara, you are Brahman, you are Chaitanyam. In that Chaitanyam alone, the whole creation is resting, which is Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam. So this particular verse is a Mahavakya, which reveals that I am not different from Easwara. It shows you, Arjuna, that since the world exists in you and in me, Paramatma, you are not different from me, Paramatma. Your understanding of Vedanta is complete only when both these statements, the world exists in me and the world exists in God, can be made comfortably, which means when I say that I am the Lord in whom the whole world exists, when I can say that, then only Vedanta has been assimilated by me fully. So with this, we will stop. Any questions?
Yes, oh my God. As you
Yes,
said,
please.
all the living beings. So is it all the living being or it's everything? Because the who is not a living being also has that part, and I mean Brahman only. So
Sorry, can you come again?
yes, actually my network is poor. I'm saying just you said that in this verse when he's saying the Drakshas Manyut Mai. So
Yeah.
that means all the living being you will see present in you
Yeah.
and in me. So I have question with this living being.
is it a living or any? Because
No,
non-living
here
also.
the interpretation is bhutani. Bhutam means that which is existing, and is living. So here bhutani means basically living beings. It doesn't mean that Krishna is excluding non-living beings, but in this particular verse, he is talking about living beings only. Why is he talking about living beings? Because he's trying to motivate Arjuna to fight. So he's saying that Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya are no different from you. You are the consciousness in which both exist.
Okay, yes, that's one.
Context, always remember. Without the context, you lose, hold of what is happening. Okay, so with this, we'll conclude. Thank you for your patience. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you so much.